Okay, so we are back at this time day 2 at STGCC 2018, and we're here with Mufizal from HMO. Yeah, hi.
Hi.
So I wanted to know like what's the HMO's ideology and philosophy?
Okay, so HMO stands for handmade object. That's because as a company and myself, we believe that every product, everything on this planet, product-wise, has been touched by a human hand. So every single thing from design or at the end production, like even for a product like this,
Yeah.
every piece is hand painted by an artisan. Even like a simple statue like this, what we do is this piece can actually come off. So it's something completely different, and we bring something new to the collectors. So a lot of these parts can open up, like this part, all can open up. So this is our philosophy as a company, to bring something exciting and something new.
Okay, can you run us through one statue that had a lot of challenges from concept all the way to the finished piece?
Okay, I think every statue has its own challenge. Why don't you come follow me? So I guess I'll stand next. Sure. So this is Morrigan. So as I said, with every statue comes its own challenges, but I think this one has one of the biggest challenges, but it's also one of our most successful product, our most popular
Really
product.
beautiful.
Thank you very much. So what we did with Morrigan is that if you look at the base, we'll start with the base. If you look at the base, and if you were to move over there and shoot over here, it's just a bunch of rocks, right? But if you move to the middle, it will form a skull, right? So now the reason why I did that is because of two things. One is because we needed to support the statue,
Yeah.
right? So we needed to find a way to support the statue. So I started out with a bunch of rocks. But then I thought, okay, instead of just making it a bunch of rocks, why don't we represent something what she is? She's like this dark figure, dark stalker, right? And the skull would represent the character very well.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's one thing. The other thing is that I'm not sure whether you guys can see it over there on the camera, but the eyes are very, very special. So these eyes are probably the first one of its kind on a quarter scale statue. They are glass eyes. Well, they're not really glass, but they are made to look like realistic eyes.
Okay.
That's why it's very, very alive. So yeah, that's one of those challenges. The challenge is to actually get these products out. We made 125 pieces for this one and 400 pieces for the player one.
Okay.
And every single piece is handcrafted. And the challenge is to make sure that it's got that quality.
Okay. Cool. All right. How do you decide how much detail is the right amount for that particular scale?
Okay. So that's a really good question. So detail, in my point of view as an artist, also as a company philosophy, detail is only needed. Sorry, let me rephrase that. You only put detail where it's needed.
Yeah.
You shouldn't put detail everywhere, because otherwise it will start to become very, very noisy.
Confusing, yeah.
Correct. So if you look, if you come over here, so this is the Warhammer statue. So if you come over here, if you look at it, overall, there's a lot of details going on here, right? There's a lot of details going on here. But we specifically only choose a few parts to focus on in terms of details. So if you look at the main characters, lots and lots of details on it. So that's why it matters.
Yeah.
Also the secondary character, also lots of detail where it matters.
So the sizing and
Correct.
placement
Correct.
and stuff.
But if you look at the staircase, it's less detailed, because we don't want people to focus too much on the staircase. We want people to focus on the statue itself.
Yeah.
You can imagine if we put detail everywhere, it will become too noisy and nobody will be able to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
But then if you see detail, very detailed, clean, but then you go back to detail over here at the ground.
Okay.
So that's how we decide. We decide like we put detail where it's needed only.
Okay. Super. My next question was going to be, can you tell us more about the Warhammer piece?
Oh, right. So we are very, very excited with the Warhammer piece. It's a collaboration with Games Workshop. We are very honored to get the license actually in the first place, and for them to trust us to do it. It's an amazing franchise. It's an amazing brand. So yeah, we are making a total of 4 dioramas.
Wow.
I won't be able to tell you what they are
Yeah,
yet,
of
but the
course.
first one is going to be this one, which is the Primarch of the Space Marines, which is Mr. Gulliman, Robot Gulliman, versus the Chaos Marine. So what we are doing is we're depicting key scenes in the universe's lore.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Okay. Can you tell us more about your original IPs?
All right,
That have been
Bounties of
coming.
Bathos.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a couple of original IPs. One of them is Bounties of Bathos. The other one is Beastly Beauties.
Yeah.
Right. So for Beastly Beauties, it's a line of statues that's of busts.
Yeah.
So we use the element earth, wind, fire, sand, and water. They all have different characters, but they are of Greek mythology. So you've got Medusa, Siren, and then Empusa, and a few others. So we've already come up with 2 busts. They're very, very well accepted and very well liked, which is Medusa and Siren, and then we're going to be continuing with the rest.
Okay.
The other original IP is Bounties of Bathos. So Bounties of Bathos is it's a sci-fi world set in a very, very far distant future on a different planet altogether. So it's a world that we've created to create content. So we've created this whole universe called Bounties of Bathos. And inside that universe, we will be coming out with statues, comics, t-shirts, all sorts of
okay.
merchandise
Nice.
to support the universe. Well, actually, the universe supports the merchandise. That's what we're doing.
Oh. So what were some of the engineering and problem-solving challenges that came along?
Okay.
Whenever you work on any piece of HMO, because it's always there, right?
Yes.
So that aspect.
Yes,
Yeah.
so for HMO pieces, they are all very complex, like I was showing to you earlier, Karan, that you can open it up. So the challenge comes when it's time to deliver the statue to the collector. So these pieces are very heavy, they're very fragile, they're made out of resin. It's supposed to last for hundreds of years, but it's fragile. So the challenge comes is, how do you separate them? How do you put them into different parts together and make them into a box? The box can't be too big either, because then
Yeah.
the shipping will be very,
Shipping
very
cost,
expensive.
yeah.
So we try to make it as compact as possible. And then when it comes to like light up, for example, like this one, we gathered feedback from people saying that the battery is very hard to put in, because you need to take it up,
Okay.
put the battery on. So what we did now is we just use this USB plug here, and you can just use any sort of like rechargeable battery. You just plug it in, and then there's a switch here, and then it lights up.
Super.
Much more simple. So we learn, and from feedback from collectors, from you guys, and we improve. And that's where the challenge comes in. How do we make things better constantly?
Okay. Yeah, so like you were just saying, opinions will keep coming, right?
Correct.
After a point, like the collectors are always worried what piece they're getting.
Yes.
So when do you decide, okay, enough of this, like, we can keep working on this, but when do you think, okay, it's definitive for now, and this is when it's supposed to release? Let's, like a full stop, and
Okay.
let's move on to the next one. So how do you decide that?
Yeah. So that's when I have to divide myself into 2 sides.
Yeah.
One is the business side, one is the artist side. So like the great masters of the old, what they always say about art is never finished. It's only abandoned. So at some point you need to abandon the project. It's not because you don't like it anymore, or you've lost passion. It's just because at some point you need to release the statue.
Yeah.
There is never going to be a perfect statue. You need to find a way where it's enough, and it has superseded the prototype.
Yeah.
It's much better than the prototype already. It's much cleaner, it's much more sturdy, the paint's better. Then it's time to release it. Before we start to not make sense as a business, we have to release the
Yeah.
statues.
Can you run us through some of the quality control checkpoints? Because for me, if anyone says HMO I know it's all about quality control, and you guys
Yes.
want to get that right.
Correct.
So I've seen you guys go through multiple attempts of getting that right.
Yes.
So can you tell the people out there, because they need to know these things.
Right.
There needs to be more awareness. So,
Right.
yeah.
So how we deal with quality control is that I personally fly there. So there's a few checkpoints. So once the prototype is done, we will send the prototype over to the factory.
Okay.
And then once the factory has received the prototype, they create a sample. Then I will fly over to the factory and check whether they have met my specifications or not. Once that's done, then it will go ahead and make 20 pieces only.
Okay.
And then I will go back again and check if those 20 pieces are okay, because what that means is that they've already managed to figure out how to mass produce this art piece. And then after that, we will get them to do the run. After they're finished with that, then we'll send our QC guy. I will fly there as well, and we only release 20 at a time. So imagine you have 750 pieces, right? We will QC them. Every good one we will put aside.
Okay.
And once it catches up to 20 pieces of the good ones, then we'll send it over.
In batches. So
Correct.
basically in
Correct.
batches.
Correct.
Okay.
So we try not to rush it out, but we also want to make sure that the collectors don't wait for too long.
Exactly.
So it's a fine balance.
Okay. Video games seem to be very pivotal to what you guys do as well.
Mhm.
So where is all that coming from? What do video games mean to you?
So I've been in the video game industry for a very, very long time, like 15 years. I've been doing video games a lot. I've made games like Assassin's Creed, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I think when you talk about pop culture, especially pop culture literally means popular culture, right? And I think video games is the modern comic book.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
what I'm not saying comic books is dead.
No, it's
Comic
not,
book is
but-
very much still alive, but I think video games has a lot of nostalgic effect
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
to the modern day collector. But it also speaks to the kids. It also speaks to the children. So it's something that I feel the parent and the child can have connection together when they buy a piece like Mega Man.
Yeah.
The dad will like it, and the son would understand what it is.
Super. Okay. In terms of the regions you ship to, what are your what's your reach like? What is HMO's reach like right now?
Could you rephrase the question, please?
So in terms of the reach that you have,
Reach.
in terms of regions for shipping,
All right. Okay.
what's that like?
So we with any company, I think when you start out, you try to service a smaller region, somewhere that's closer to you, because you can much better provide services to those regions around you. And as you start to expand, you need to make sure that your customer service can provide the service that you require for those
That's
regions.
very true.
So it's not that because we don't want to sell to them, it's because we are not comfortable selling because we cannot support them yet.
Yeah.
So now that we have expanded and we have like Capcom, we're going to move into worldwide licensors, and we've beefed up our customer service. So we are slowly but surely reaching a worldwide status.
Awesome. Cool. And what can we expect from HMO in the near future?
You can expect great things.
Awesome.
Right. So in the near future, we are definitely going to continue on with all the stuff that we've been making. I think the Darkstalker fans are very, very loud. Mega Man X series are also very loud. We're definitely going to continue with Capcom. We are also continuing with something that we are known for, which is beautiful girls.
Yeah.
Just because I think the feminine shape is very, very beautiful. So we are going to continue with that. We're going to explore girls from the Capcom universe as well.
Yeah.
So you can expect those coming.
Okay, can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
Now you just spoke about the female, and I'll go to the female portraits, right?
Correct.
It's very hard to get right,
Correct.
and you guys keep doing it on a regular basis. I don't know how you're like super awesome at it. What does it take, like in terms of it's very subtle, right?
Yep.
These things.
So-
how do you
Yeah,
manage to keep it going?
All right. Okay. So now what's a beautiful girl to you, Karan, is not the same as a beautiful girl to me. Not the same for you guys as well. You guys have your own taste of what a beautiful girl looks like. However, there is a generic consensus of what a beautiful girl is supposed to look like.
Okay.
So I don't want to go into technical details, but you can safely say that there is a formula that you can find that makes a beautiful face, makes an agreeable, beautiful face.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the kind of secret. I guess it's a trade secret that we use.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. So thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Yeah, and we can't wait for more HMO stuff.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.